Millionaire took his maid to his ex-fiancée's wedding, and what she did shocked everyone. An arrogant millionaire, Ethan Parker, lost his fiancée to another man. To avoid showing weakness, he has an audacious plan that will surprise you. Before the story begins, comment below which city you are watching from. Enjoy the story, everyone. Ethan Parker, as a millionaire used to having the world at his feet, was staring at a wedding invitation from his ex-fiancée, Ava, to another man. The pain of loss was great, but as always, Ethan refused to show any weakness. He needed a plan to show everyone, especially Ava, that he didn't care. Suddenly, he noticed Lily, his maid, who was organizing papers in the room. Lily was young, beautiful, and had a genuine air that could work perfectly for his plan. "Lily, come here," he said in an authoritative tone. Lily hesitated but put down what she was doing and approached. "Do you need something, Mr. Parker?" she asked, as polite as ever. "Yes, I need you to accompany me to an event." "It's personal." The proposal sounded absurd. Lily looked at him with a mix of surprise and confusion. "Mr. Parker, I'm your maid, not an escort." Ethan let out a brief laugh, as if her reaction was predictable. "I'm not asking, Lily. I'm offering an opportunity. You'll be well paid for this. All you need to do is accompany me, look stunning, and engage in minimal conversation." Lily felt a lump in her throat. As offensive as the idea was, the amount Ethan suggested was irresistible. Having worked for him for almost 2 years, she knew how to handle his authoritative manner but never expected something like this. She thought about her accumulating bills and the course she wanted to start. "Why me?" she dared to ask. Ethan gave her a direct look. "Because you're simple, discreet, and," he hesitated for a moment, "different from everyone who will be there." The answer sounded like an insult masked as a compliment, but Lily swallowed her pride. "All right, I'll do it," she said after a pause, "but just for one night." Ethan smiled, satisfied. "Excellent. We have a lot of work to do." As Lily left the room, a doubt filled her mind. What consequences would come from accepting this deal with such an unpredictable man? The next morning, Lily barely had time to process what she had agreed to. Ethan had already taken control of the situation. A luxury car arrived at her door to pick her up, taking her directly to a sophisticated boutique in the city center. As soon as she entered, she was greeted by a stylist who seemed as intimidating as Ethan. "Miss Lily, we're going to transform you," announced the woman with a critical look as attendants brought dresses, shoes, and accessories. Lily felt like she was on a transformation reality show. Each piece chosen seemed a reminder of how distant Ethan's world was from hers. She tried to refuse the high heel she could barely balance on but was ignored. Ethan arrived shortly after, analyzing everything with a critical eye. "She needs to look sophisticated but not artificial," he declared while the stylist nodded. Lily crossed her arms, uncomfortable. "Maybe I could choose something that makes me feel comfortable," Lily commented hesitantly. Ethan let out a short laugh. "This isn't about comfort, Lily. It's about impressing." The response made her blood boil, but Lily knew there was no point in arguing. Accepting this deal meant playing by his rules, at least for now. After hours of adjustments and trials, Ethan finally approved an elegant black dress that highlighted Lily's natural beauty. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman reflected. For a brief moment, she felt powerful. "Now, this is it," Ethan said, examining her as if she were a completed work of art. "All this seems a bit exaggerated," Lily commented, hesitant. Ethan turned to her, eyes fixed. "Ava can't have any doubt that you are my choice." The name of the ex-fiancé hung in the air as a silent reminder of the reason for all this. The next day, Ethan hired an etiquette specialist to train Lily to act like someone from high society. For hours, she was instructed on how to walk, smile, and even hold a champagne glass. The effort exhausted her but also irritated her. "I can hold a glass without help," she protested after dropping one for the third time. Ethan, observing from a distance, just shook his head. "You're here to impress, not to be average." Lily took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "And why is all this so important to you, Ethan? You already have everything: money, power, respect." For a moment, he seemed disconcerted by the question but soon regained his impassive expression. "Some things can't be bought, Lily. Let's just say this is personal." The answer didn't convince her, but she decided not to push further. It was clear there was more to the story than he was letting on. On the night before the wedding, Ethan showed up with a more serious expression than usual. "Tomorrow, all eyes will be on us. Leave no room for doubts or mistakes." Lily stared at him, exhausted from the constant training and endless demands. "Ethan, why does this matter so much to you? Ava is just your ex." He gave a cold smile. "Ava isn't just my ex, she's the only person who challenged me and thought she could replace me." Lily realized that. Behind Ethan's confident facade were insecurities he worked hard to hide. This wasn't just about Ava, it was about wounded pride, control, and the need to prove no one could surpass him. "So, this is all just about stroking your ego?" she asked, challenging him. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "I don't expect you to understand, Lily. Just stick to the plan." The tension between them was palpable, but Lily chose not to prolong the argument. She knew that whatever happened, her patience was about to be tested like never before. On the morning of the wedding, Lily got ready with the help of a team Ethan had hired. Her hair was flawless, her makeup perfect, and the dress looked like something out of a fairy tale. When she saw herself in the mirror, for a moment, she forgot everything: the plan, Ethan, Ava. She felt different, confident. Ethan found her just before they left. He was dressed in an impeccable suit, and for the first time, Lily noticed that despite his unbearable personality, he was striking. "You look adequate," he said, trying to sound indifferent, though Lily caught the faint smile on his lips. "Thanks, I think," she replied with a touch of sarcasm. In the car on the way to the wedding, silence filled the space between them. Lily tried to hide the nervousness she felt about stepping into a world that wasn't hers, next to a man who seemed incapable of feeling anything genuine. When they arrived at the venue, Ethan looked at her one last time before stepping out of the car. "Remember, Lily, today you're my partner. Act like you were born for this." She took a deep breath, meeting his gaze. "I don't need to act, Ethan. I just need to survive this." As soon as Lily stepped out of the car, whispers began. All eyes at the wedding were on her and Ethan. The elegant black dress that hugged her curves and the confident posture she had practiced for hours seemed to work. Ethan walked beside her with the same air of superiority he carried everywhere, but this time, there was something more: pride. Lily quickly realized she was in unfamiliar territory. The guests were a mix of powerful businessmen, socialites, and a few minor celebrities. Ava, the bride, stood in the distance, laughing with a group of friends. Lily felt a tightness in her chest. It wasn't fear but a sense of being out of place, surrounded by people who lived in a completely different reality. "Don't let anyone intimidate you," Ethan whispered in her ear as if reading her thoughts. Lily kept her head high as they walked toward the reception. Soon, they were approached by an older man with a broad smile. "Ethan, I didn't expect to see you here, and with such a charming companion." Ethan shook the man's hand. "Of course, I came, George. After all, Ava and I have history." The comment made Lily raise an eyebrow, but she stayed silent, forcing a polite smile. As dinner began, Lily noticed that Ethan was incredibly skilled at maintaining shallow conversations while exuding an air of superiority. She, on the other hand, did her best to keep up. At one point, Ava finally approached them, her smile as sharp as her gleaming white dress. "Ethan, what a surprise," she looked Lily up and down. "And who's your friend?" Before Ethan could respond, Lily extended her hand. "Lily, it's a pleasure to meet you, Ava." The bride seemed surprised by Lily's confidence but shook her hand. "The pleasure is mine. I didn't expect Ethan to bring someone so charming." Clearly irritated by Ava's tone, Ethan interrupted, "Lily has been an amazing companion. She understands me in ways few people ever could." Ava narrowed her eyes, studying Lily as if searching for cracks in her polished demeanor. "How interesting. We should talk later, Lily. I'd love to get to know more about you." Lily nodded, but she knew that invitation wasn't as innocent as it seemed. As the night went on, Lily felt more and more out of place. There were whispers, glances, and some women clearly mocking her behind her back. She tried to focus on the promise she had made to herself, get through the night and leave with her dignity intact. During the dance, Ethan approached and extended his hand. "You're doing well. Now, we need to dance." "Dance?" "I don't," she hesitated, but he was already pulling her onto the floor. "Trust me," he said, holding her hand firmly. To her surprise, Ethan danced with elegance, guiding her as if it were second nature. Lily stumbled a few times but soon found the rhythm. During the dance, she felt his eyes fixed on hers, and for a moment, she forgot everything around her. "You're doing better than I expected," Ethan commented, breaking the silence. Lily laughed, trying to hide her nervousness. "And you dance better than I imagined." Their exchange was interrupted when Ava approached. "Ethan, may I steal your date for a moment?" Ethan seemed to hesitate but nodded. "Sure, don't take too long." Lily followed Ava to a more secluded corner. The bride had a calculated smile, and Lily knew the moment of truth had arrived. "So, Lily," Ava began, crossing her arms, "what's your story? Where did Ethan find you?" "Sorry, I don't understand the question," Lily responded, staying calm. "Oh, you understand," Ava stepped closer. "He's always been good at choosing pieces on the board. You seem convenient." Lily felt her blood boil but didn't show it. "I think Ethan should answer for his choices." The direct response surprised Ava, who laughed softly. "Well, he always liked challenges. Good luck, dear." Lily returned to the table, feeling uneasy but tried to hide it. Ethan immediately noticed something was wrong. "What did Ava say?" he asked, looking concerned. "Nothing I couldn't handle," Lily replied, not giving details. Later, during the speech, Lily noticed that Ethan was uncomfortable. While everyone praised Ava and her new husband, he seemed distant, his jaw tense. When their eyes met, Lily gave a small smile, trying to lighten the moment. Ethan looked away but seemed less rigid. "Let's play a game with those who only read the comments. Type chocolate in the comments. Only those who get this far will understand." Now, let's continue with the story. When the event finally ended, Ethan and Lily said goodbye to the guests. On the way to the car, he finally broke the silence. "You did better than I expected." "Thanks, I think," Lily replied. "No, I mean it. You," he hesitated as if not knowing how to finish the sentence, "were perfect." Lily didn't know how to respond but felt a strange warmth in her chest. Despite all of Ethan's arrogance and control, there were moments like that which made her question who he really was. But before she could think more about it, she knew something had changed that night, and the consequences were just beginning. Lily woke up the next day, still absorbing the events of the wedding. The night had been a whirlwind of emotions, and although she had managed to impress, there was something unsettling about Ethan's behavior. He seemed to be stuck in a cycle of pride and insecurity that made him unstable, especially when Ava was around. Ethan, for his part, wasted no time getting back to his routine. That morning, he was already in a meeting with potential investors. However, the whispers about his appearance with Lily at the wedding spread quickly. Some guests, especially close friends of Ava, questioned who that woman was. Ava, seizing the opportunity, started to fuel the rumors. In a conversation with an influential investor, she hinted that Lily might be more than she appeared. Ethan has always had a peculiar taste for allies. Is she there on merit or convenience? She said with a malicious tone. The rumor grew, and it wasn't long before one of the investors approached Ethan directly during lunch. Your date at the wedding, Lily, right? She seems very determined. Something tells me she has ambitions beyond you. Ethan, already irritated by Ava's provocations, felt the comment hit his pride. He knew Lily wasn't a threat, but his own insecurity, combined with what he had heard that morning, made him overreact. That afternoon, Lily was called into Ethan's office. As soon as she entered, she sensed the tense atmosphere. He was sitting behind his desk, eyes fixed on some papers, but his expression was harsh. You wanted to see me? Lily asked, trying to stay calm. Ethan looked up. Yes, we need to clear a few things up. She stepped closer, bracing herself for the worst. What's going on? Ethan tossed some papers onto the table. These rumors about you speaking to investors at the wedding. What exactly did you say to them? Lily was stunned. Speaking to investors? I didn't talk to anyone except Ava and a few people who approached me. And what exactly did you discuss? He pressed, his voice laced with suspicion. Lily felt her blood boil. Discuss? Ethan, all I did was act exactly as you asked. I was by your side the whole time, except when Ava wanted to talk to me. He stood, slamming his hands on the table. So, it was Ava. Of course, she'd try something, and he fell right into her trap. Lily crossed her arms, incredulous. You're blaming me for something I don't even know happened. You went too far, he said, ignoring her attempts to explain. I trusted you with a simple task, but apparently, you can't help but draw more attention than you should. The accusation hit Lily hard. Are you saying my presence hurt you? You're the one who put me in this position. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to maintain control, but his anger seemed to take over. Lily, I think it's best if we end this here. Consider yourself dismissed. Lily froze for a moment. Dismissed? Are you firing me? That's right. It's clear our dynamic no longer works. The words were a slap in the face. Lily felt her pride clash with indignation, but she realized arguing with Ethan would be pointless. Fine, if that's your decision, I'll accept it. But know this, Ethan, you're making a huge mistake. She turned and walked out of the room with her head held high, but inside, she was devastated. It wasn't just about losing the job, it was about the way he treated her, discarding her like she was insignificant. The following days were tough for Lily. Despite her anger, she knew she needed to bounce back. Without the job, her savings wouldn't last long, but instead of feeling defeated, she decided to use the situation as fuel to turn her life around. Lily began working on a project she'd long had in mind, sustainable decor using recycled materials. Her creativity shone through as she created a small collection of pieces that quickly caught attention on social media. Within weeks, her work began to gain visibility, and orders started pouring in. Meanwhile, Ethan faced increasing pressure in his company. The insecurity caused by Ava's presence and the rumors from the wedding continued to undermine his credibility. Though he wouldn't admit it, he found himself thinking about Lily often. There was something about her, the determination he saw in her eyes when she left the room, that he couldn't forget. One morning, while reviewing financial reports, Ethan received an email that caught him off guard. It was an article on a design website praising the work of a new entrepreneur, Lily. He clicked the link and saw photos of her creations. The pieces were innovative, full of personality, and reflected exactly who she was. For a moment, he felt a mix of admiration and unease. Lily was thriving on her own, without relying on anyone, while his own life felt increasingly out of control. That evening, at a business event, Ethan felt distant. During a conversation, he overheard someone mention Lily's name again. It was as if no matter how much he tried, he couldn't escape her influence. He decided he needed to see her. Meanwhile, Lily was working tirelessly to grow her business. The pain and wounded pride she'd felt after being dismissed by Ethan had turned into motivation. She knew she didn't need his validation or anyone else's to succeed. But when she heard the sound of a message on her phone, her heart nearly stopped. It was from Ethan. Lily stared at Ethan's message for a few seconds, her heart racing. After weeks of silence, there he was, wanting to talk. But why? What did he want after discarding her so easily? Determined not to let it affect her, Lily ignored the message and focused back on her work. The small studio she had set up in her living room was beginning to feel too small. Orders for her sustainable decor pieces were growing daily, and she could barely keep up with the demand. It was exhausting but also made her feel like she was finally in control of her life. Meanwhile, Ethan couldn't concentrate. Lily had turned down his attempt to reach out, and it bothered him more than he wanted to admit. He tried to justify his growing interest in her as mere curiosity. After all, it wasn't common for someone he fired to leave his orbit and succeed on their own. But there was something more. He couldn't forget the look in her eyes during their last conversation when she stood up to him with such courage and determination. It was a complete contrast to the people around him, always flattering or interested only in what he could offer. Lily was different, and that intrigued him. "Mr. Parker," his assistant said, interrupting his thoughts, "the investor you mentioned wants to schedule a meeting." Ethan nodded distractedly. "Yes, sure, schedule it for tomorrow." But his mind was still on Lily. He decided he needed to see her face to face, not to apologize, that wasn't something he did easily, but to understand how she had bounced back so quickly. The next morning, Lily was organizing a new batch of orders when she heard a knock at the door. Her heart raced when she saw Ethan on the other side. She took a deep breath before opening it. "What are you doing here?" she asked, crossing her arms. Ethan was as impeccable as always, but there was something softer in his expression. "We need to talk, Lily." She let out a short, humorless laugh. "You've made it clear what you think of me, Ethan. I don't see what we have to discuss." "I was wrong," he said, surprising her, "about a lot of things." Lily raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "Is this an attempt to apologize?" He hesitated but nodded. "In a way, yes. I was impulsive and unfair to you." "Impulsive and unfair," she repeated, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You accused me of something I didn't do, humiliated me, and fired me without even listening to me." Ethan lowered his gaze, clearly uncomfortable. "I know I was a jerk." Lily took a deep breath, trying to stay composed. "Why are you here, Ethan? Do you want to hire another pawn for your selfish plans?" He shook his head, frustrated. "No, that's not it. I saw what you're doing, Lily. Your work, it's amazing. I had to see you, and..." "And what?" she interrupted. "Want to take credit for my success now?" Ethan stepped back as if her words had struck him. "No, I just wanted to say I admire what you've done. You got back up even after what I did." The sincerity in his voice disarmed her for a moment. She watched him, trying to understand what he wanted. Ethan, the man who always seemed so confident, now stood before her with an expression she had never seen before, vulnerability. "Admiration doesn't change anything, Ethan," Lily said firmly. "I built this on my own, without anyone's help, and you were just an obstacle I had to overcome." He nodded, accepting her words. "I know, but I hope one day you'll forgive me." Lily didn't respond, she just closed the door, leaving Ethan outside. In the following days, Lily threw herself into her work, trying to forget the encounter with Ethan. But no matter how hard she tried, he kept invading her thoughts. The way he seemed genuinely sorry was something she hadn't expected. Ethan, on the other hand, was determined to make amends. He started researching more about Lily's work and realized the positive impact she was having with her creations. Inspired by her, he decided to use his influence to support sustainable projects, something he had never considered before. In a meeting with a group of investors, he presented a proposal to fund small entrepreneurs with innovative ideas. "We need more projects that make a difference," he said, surprising even himself. Meanwhile, Lily received an unexpected invitation to showcase her work at a local design event. It was her first opportunity to present her creations to a larger audience, and she was nervous but excited. On the night of the event, while arranging her pieces, she felt a familiar presence behind her. She turned around and found Ethan. "What are you doing here?" she asked, surprised. "I came to support you," he replied sincerely. "And before you say anything, I'm not here to steal your moment." Lily crossed her arms, still skeptical. "Why?" "Because I believe in you," he said simply. The words, though unexpected, didn't seem hollow. Lily watched Ethan for a moment, trying to find any sign that he had other intentions, but all she saw was honesty. "You're persistent, Ethan," she said finally, "but I still don't know if I can trust you." He gave a small smile. "I don't expect you to trust me. I just hope for a chance to show that I can be better." The event was a success. Lily received compliments and proposals from new clients, and although reluctant, she couldn't deny that Ethan's presence helped draw attention to her work. As the night came to an end, he approached her again. "If you ever need help expanding your business, know that I'm willing to invest," he said. Lily shook her head. "I don't need your money, Ethan. If I ever accept your help, it'll be because I trust you, not because I depend on it." Ethan nodded, respecting her decision. "Then I'll work to earn your trust." For the first time, Lily saw something different in Ethan. Maybe, just maybe, he was genuinely changing. The showcase was a milestone in Lily's life, not just because of the opportunities it brought but also because it was the first time she felt the impact of her work beyond social media. Yet, Ethan's unexpected support still left her confused. She tried not to think about him, but somehow, he seemed determined to be part of her journey again. In the following days, Lily was busy with new orders and invitations to collaborate with local designers. Still, the encounter with Ethan at the event lingered in her mind. He had shown a kindness she'd never seen before, but she knew that with Ethan, kindness alone wasn't enough to erase the past. While working on a new collection, her phone rang. It was an unknown number, but she answered anyway. "Hello. Lily, this is Sarah from Urban Deco Designs. We'd like to invite you to lead a project in collaboration with a high-profile company. Your work is exactly what we're looking for." Lily could hardly believe it. Urban Deco Designs was one of the top sustainable design firms, known for partnerships with major brands. "I'd love to." "Which company is it?" "It's Parker Enterprises." The name made her heart stop for a moment. Of course, it was. The irony was almost cruel. I need to think about it," she replied, trying to sound professional. "We understand, but this could be a great opportunity for you to expand your reach. Please consider it and let me know by tomorrow." Lily hung up, trying to process the situation. Working with Ethan meant facing everything she was trying to move past, but the opportunity was too big to ignore. The next morning, Lily made her decision and sent Sarah a message confirming her participation. A few hours later, she received project details and a request for a meeting at Parker Enterprises headquarters. When she arrived at the towering building, she felt a mix of nerves and determination. She wasn't there to rekindle personal ties, she was there as a professional. She took the elevator, heart racing, and was greeted by an assistant who led her to the meeting room. As soon as she walked in, she saw Ethan. He was standing by a table covered with reports, but his gaze went straight to Lily. For a moment, he looked surprised, but then he smiled. "Welcome, Lily." She maintained her composure. "I'm here for the project, Ethan. Let's keep it focused on that." He nodded, seeming to respect the boundary she set. "Of course. I want you to see this as a partnership. Your ideas will be critical." The meeting proceeded objectively. Ethan presented the project, a sustainable corporate building designed to minimize environmental impact. Lily took notes, keeping the interaction professional, though she noticed Ethan went out of his way to highlight her input, something he'd never done before. After the meeting, he walked her to the exit. "Thank you for agreeing to work with us," he said with genuine sincerity. "I'm here because the project matters, Ethan," Lily replied, "but that doesn't change the past." Ethan sighed, seeming to understand. "I know, but I hope that in time, we can start fresh." Lily didn't respond, she just nodded and left, determined to keep her focus on the work. In the days that followed, Lily threw herself into the project. She led the creative team with determination, and her dedication didn't go unnoticed. Her interactions with Ethan were frequent but strictly professional. He seemed different, more collaborative, less domineering. One day, during a meeting, Lily presented a bold idea for the interior design. One of the investors raised a concern. "This seems risky. Why should we trust this approach?" Before Lily could answer, Ethan stepped in. "Because I trust her work. Lily has the experience and vision. If she believes this is the best direction for the project, I support it." Ethan's public endorsement caught Lily off guard, but she didn't show it. She calmly continued explaining her proposal, eventually winning the investor's approval. After the meeting, she confronted Ethan. "Why did you do that?" "Because it was the right thing to do," he replied as if it were obvious. "And since when do you care about what's right?" Lily retorted with a challenging tone. Ethan gave a small smile. "Since I realized I was wrong about a lot of things." Lily didn't know how to respond. His sincerity was disconcerting. As the project progressed, their interactions began to change. Ethan was more open, and Lily, though reluctant, started to see a side of him she never imagined existed. He surprised her with small gestures, like bringing coffee to meetings or praising her work in front of the team. One afternoon, after a long day of work, Ethan invited her to dinner. "Nothing professional," he said, noticing her hesitation. "Just a conversation between two people." Lily thought for a moment before accepting. At the restaurant, the conversation was relaxed. Ethan talked about his childhood, his challenges, taking over the company, and even his regrets, something Lily never expected to hear. "I always thought success was everything," he said thoughtfully, "but lately, I've realized it might not be enough." "Success means nothing if you have no one to share it with," Lily replied without thinking. Ethan looked at her, surprised by the depth of her words. "You're right." The exchange of looks between them was intense, but Lily looked away, trying to keep her emotional distance. It was still too early to let her guard down. The next day, Lily was surprised by some news. One of her decor pieces used in the project had been featured in a design magazine. Ethan made sure to praise her publicly, further increasing her visibility. However, Lily realized that despite the progress, something still prevented her from fully trusting Ethan. His change seemed real, but part of her still wondered if it was just another calculated facade. As the project advanced, Lily knew the biggest challenge was yet to come: deciding if Ethan truly deserved a second chance. Lily stood at the center of the conference room presenting the progress of her ideas for the sustainable building. The project had advanced remarkably, and the confidence she had earned from the team and investors was evident. Every detail she proposed was met with praise, and even those who initially underestimated her were convinced of her vision. Ethan, sitting at the head of the table, watched her silently. He rarely interfered in Lily's presentations now but made sure to show support. His eyes were fixed on her, but not just for her professionalism, there was something more. When the meeting ended, Lily felt Ethan's familiar presence approaching. "You're doing an amazing job," he said as they walked down the hallway. "Thank you," she replied, keeping her tone neutral. Ethan hesitated before continuing. "You know, I've been thinking a lot about what you said that night about success and who you share it with." Lily stopped, turning to face him. "Ethan, I'm here to work. Don't mix things up." He shook his head as if trying to control something he really wanted to say. "Right, but someday, maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to show." Lily didn't respond, she just walked away, ignoring the strange feeling his words provoked. As the project neared its final stage, Lily started to notice something unusual in the financial reports. Some budget decisions seemed contradictory to the sustainability message Ethan emphasized so much. It wasn't something she could ignore. That same afternoon, she went directly to his office. "Ethan, can we talk?" He looked up from his computer, surprised by her direct tone. "Sure, what's going on?" Lily placed the papers on his desk. "These numbers don't make sense. How can we talk about sustainability when we're cutting essential costs for it?" Ethan took the reports and reviewed them in silence. "I'll check this with the finance department," he said, but Lily sensed hesitation in his voice. "You knew about this, didn't you?" she asked, her voice full of frustration. He put down the papers and took a deep breath. "It wasn't an easy decision, Lily, but we need to balance the budget." Lily stared at him, incredulous. "You're sacrificing the integrity of the project to please investors." "It's not that simple," Ethan replied, looking uncomfortable. "I have responsibilities. And I have principles," Lily retorted firmly. "If you don't believe in what you're doing, then this project will never be genuine." Ethan remained silent, visibly shaken by her words. That night, Lily decided she needed answers. Ethan had always been a complicated man, but there was something deeper about his behavior recently. She started looking into the background of some companies involved in the project. And found that most had long-standing ties to Ethan and his father. The next day, she confronted him again. "Ethan, why are you so invested in this project? It's not just about sustainability, is it?" He looked away as if trying to avoid the question. "It doesn't matter now." "It does," Lily insisted. "If you want my trust, you need to be honest with me." Ethan finally relented, closing his eyes for a moment before speaking. "This project is a way to make up for what my father did. He always prioritized profit above everything else, and it hurt a lot of people. I grew up thinking that was the only way, but I don't want to repeat his mistakes." Lily listened in silence, absorbing his words. For the first time, she saw Ethan as someone vulnerable, someone battling his own past. "Then do things differently," she finally said. "Show that you can be better." In the days that followed, Ethan took steps to adjust the budget, even though he knew it might deter some investors. Lily noticed he was genuinely trying to change, but there was still a barrier she couldn't break through. Let's have a little fun with the readers in the comments. Type milkshake if you've made it this far. Now, let's get back to the story. As they worked together, the two began sharing more than just project ideas. Lily opened up about her humble childhood, the challenges of supporting her family, and her dream of using her creativity to make a meaningful impact. Ethan, in turn, spoke about the pressure of growing up in his father's shadow, the failure of his relationship with Ava, and how meeting Lily had shifted his perspective on many things. "You made me realize that success means nothing if you lose the people who truly matter," he admitted during a break from work. Lily's heart raced, but she kept her expression neutral. "Ethan, change takes time. It's not enough to say you'll be different, you have to prove it." He nodded. "And I will." At an event to showcase the project's progress, Lily was approached by Ava, who seemed to attend every opportunity to cross paths with Ethan. "Looks like you've gained more than just a job," Ava said with a sly smile. Lily took a deep breath, staying calm. "I've worked hard to earn my place, Ava. Maybe you should try doing the same." Ava laughed as if Lily's response amused her. "Ethan can be charming when he wants to be, but in the end, he always reverts to what he is, a man driven by his ego. Good luck trying to change that." Lily didn't respond, but Ava's words unsettled her. No matter how much effort Ethan was making, doubts lingered. Those doubts deepened when he approached her shortly afterward, concern in his eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Ava has a special talent for being unpleasant," Lily replied, trying to play it off. Ethan sighed. "Don't let her get to you. She's always looking for ways to hurt me, and now she thinks targeting you is the way to do it." "And why?" Lily challenged, locking eyes with him. "Why does she think I'm important to you?" Ethan was silent for a moment before answering. "Because you are." The words were simple but carried weight. Lily didn't know what to say. Ethan seemed intent on making his feelings clear, but she wasn't ready to trust him yet. In the following days, Lily focused on her work, but Ethan's words stayed with her. He had been clear, she was important to him. While his intentions seemed genuine, Lily knew she couldn't rely on words alone. She wanted to believe him, but her instincts kept her cautious. As the project progressed, a major presentation event was scheduled to bring together investors, partners, and industry leaders. It was a crucial moment to solidify Lily's hard work and secure the financial backing needed for the final phase. She prepared meticulously, knowing the night would be pivotal. Ethan, meanwhile, was closer than ever. He not only trusted her decisions but also supported her in every detail. At times, Lily caught him looking at her during meetings, but she avoided addressing it. Their balance was delicate, and Lily knew that one wrong step could destabilize everything. On the night of the event, Lily arrived at the stunning venue in a simple yet elegant dress that reflected her personality. The guests were excited to see the presentation, and she struggled to stay calm as she mentally reviewed the details. Ethan arrived shortly after, impeccably dressed as always but with a more relaxed demeanor than usual. He approached Lily as soon as he saw her. "You look amazing," he said in a tone that seemed to slip from his usual composure. "Thank you," she replied, trying to keep the conversation casual. Before they could continue, Ava appeared with a smile that barely hid her intent to provoke Lily. "Chloe, what a pleasant surprise," she said as her eyes scanned the room. "It seems you've really found your place here." "I worked hard for it," Lily replied, refusing to be intimidated. Ava turned to Ethan. "And you, Ethan, still trying to prove something to me?" Ethan stayed calm, but his tone was firm. "Ava, I have nothing to prove to you, and Lily doesn't need your approval to be here." Lily watched the exchange with a mix of satisfaction and discomfort. Ethan had taken her side publicly, but the confrontation with Ava seemed to rekindle old wounds. As the event progressed, Lily presented her vision for the final phase of the project. The room fell silent as she explained how every detail was designed to reflect the values of sustainability and innovation. When she finished, the audience erupted in applause. Ethan was the first to stand, followed by the investors and partners. Lily felt a surge of pride, but she also knew the night was far from over. During the cocktail hour following the presentation, Ava once again tried to steal the spotlight. This time, however, she approached one of the investors and began making insinuations about Ethan's past. "He's always been good at charming people, but commitment has never been his strong suit," she said in a casual tone, but loud enough for Lily to hear. Lily decided not to intervene. She knew Ethan didn't need her defense, but Ava's words seemed to plant doubt in the minds of some investors. Shortly after, one of the men approached Ethan. "Ethan, it seems like you're changing your approach." The public support for Lily was impressive, but considering your history, is this really sincere? Ethan narrowed his eyes, clearly irritated. "My support for Lily is based on her talent and work. If that's not enough to convince you, maybe it's time to reconsider our partnerships." Ethan's firm tone silenced the man, but Lily, watching from a distance, saw that it had affected Ethan more than he let on. When the night ended, Lily found Ethan outside, looking at the horizon with a tired expression. "It was an intense night," she said, approaching. "That's an understatement," he replied with a small smile. "You were amazing." "Thank you, but what Ava said didn't help at all." Ethan sighed, his shoulders heavy. "Ava knows how to hit where it hurts. She can't stand the idea that I'm trying to change." Lily hesitated before responding. "And are you, Ethan?" Ethan looked at her, his expression serious. "I am, but not for her." There was a moment of silence between them before Ethan continued, "Lily, when I fired you, I thought I was protecting myself, but all I did was push away the only person who made me question who I really was. You showed me that there's a different way." His words were full of emotion, and Lily felt her own barriers begin to weaken. "Ethan, change isn't just about words, it's about actions," she said. "Then let me show you," he said, his voice firm. Lily didn't respond immediately. Part of her wanted to believe him, but another part was still stuck in the past. "We'll see," she said finally. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at the company changed. Ethan started implementing bolder measures, like partnerships with sustainable organizations and cutting ties with suppliers that didn't align with the project's values. Lily saw that he was indeed trying to turn his words into actions. One afternoon, while they were reviewing the final details of the presentation, Ethan did something that caught her by surprise. "Lily, I need you to know that no matter what happens between us, this project was only possible because of you." She looked at him, trying to find any hint of insincerity in his words but found none. "Thank you," she replied, genuinely. Ethan hesitated before continuing. "I know there's still a lot I need to prove to you, but if you'll let me, I want to try." Lily knew Ethan's intentions seemed genuine, but something still held her back. Maybe it was the fear of getting hurt again, or maybe it was just caution. The final days of the project were a mix of excitement and exhaustion for Lily. She had dedicated months to the work, but now, with the launch approaching, she realized it wasn't just a professional milestone, it was a personal turning point. Ethan had changed, or at least he seemed to have, yet Lily wasn't sure she was ready to trust him again. The launch was set to be a grand event, covered by the media and attended by international investors and industry figures. As usual, Ethan took on the role of host, but he insisted Lily be by his side. "You're the soul of this project," he said during one of their final meetings. "I want everyone to know that." Lily agreed, but with one condition. "As long as it's clear my role here was earned on merit. I'm not here to be associated with your past or your mistakes." Ethan nodded, understanding her resolve. "Agreed. You've earned this entirely on your own." On the morning of the event, Lily arrived early to check the final details. The building looked flawless, reflecting everything she had envisioned: elegance, functionality, and sustainability. As she walked through the halls, she felt a mix of pride and anxiety. Ethan arrived shortly after, dressed impeccably in a suit. He seemed confident, but there was something else in his expression, a hint of vulnerability Lily couldn't ignore. "Nervous?" he asked as he approached. "A little," she admitted. And you? Always, he replied with a smile, but having you here makes it easier. Lily looked away, trying to avoid the weight of his words. There was something different about Ethan that day, a lightness she hadn't seen before. The event began with speeches and presentations highlighting the project's innovative aspects. Lily was invited to the stage to share her vision and how she had turned ideas into reality. She was nervous, but as she glanced at the audience, she saw Ethan in the front row, his face filled with genuine pride. "This project isn't just about sustainability," she said, concluding her speech. "It's about showing that when we work together and believe in the impact we can make, we can create something truly meaningful." The audience erupted in applause, but it was Ethan's gaze that stayed with her. After the presentations, a reception was held, and Lily found herself surrounded by people eager to learn more about her work. She answered every question with patience, but her attention kept drifting to Ethan, who was across the room, speaking with a group of investors. When she finally had a moment alone, Ava appeared, as usual, at the least convenient time. "Well, Lily, it seems you've managed to impress. Congratulations." "Thank you," Lily replied, keeping her composure. "But tell me, do you really think Ethan has changed, or is he still playing the same game?" Lily didn't answer right away. There was something calculated about Ava's tone, as if she wanted to sow doubt. "It's not your judgment that matters," Lily said at last. "It's mine." Ava gave a quiet laugh but didn't reply. She simply walked away, leaving Lily alone with her thoughts. Shortly after, Ethan approached her again. "Ava's trying to poison your thoughts again, isn't she?" Lily sighed. "It's not that. She just made me realize I still have doubts." Ethan was silent for a moment before responding. "I understand, and honestly, I'd have doubts too if I were in your place." Lily looked at him, surprised by his honesty. "Have you really changed, Ethan, or is this just another attempt to manipulate everything around you?" "I have changed," he said firmly, "but I don't expect you to believe me just because I say so. I want to prove it over time." Lily didn't reply, instead looking away as she tried to sort through her feelings. The evening continued, but Lily's discomfort grew. There was something she couldn't quite define, a knot in her chest that refused to loosen. When the event ended, Ethan walked her to the exit. "Thank you for everything, Lily," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "This project wouldn't have been possible without you." She nodded, but his words didn't ease her concerns. "It was good work, Ethan, but that doesn't mean everything's resolved." He smiled, though there was a touch of sadness in his eyes. "I know." In the days that followed, Lily tried to return to her routine, but she couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. He was keeping his promises, his actions showed he was trying to be better, but Lily still struggled with the fear of letting herself believe. One morning, Lily received an unexpected message from Ethan. "I want you to see something. Can you come to the building today?" Lily hesitated before responding, but her curiosity won. When she arrived, Ethan greeted her in the lobby. He seemed nervous, something rare to see. "What do you want to show me?" she asked, crossing her arms. "Come with me," he said, leading her to the building's terrace. When they arrived, Lily was speechless. The space had been transformed into a lush garden with native plants and a relaxation area that looked like something out of a dream. "I wanted this project to have something special," Ethan explained. "Something that represents what I've learned working with you." Lily turned to him, still absorbing what she saw. "This is amazing, Ethan. Thank you. But this isn't just about the project, it's about you." Lily felt her heart rate increase. Ethan continued, "Lily, I know I still have a long way to go, but I want to walk this path with you if you'll let me." His words were direct, without the calculated tone she feared. Lily took a deep breath, feeling her internal barriers begin to crumble. "Maybe I can give it a chance," she said finally, "but that doesn't mean it will be easy." Ethan smiled, a genuine smile full of hope. Nothing worthwhile is easy, Lily. The partnership between Lily and Ethan seemed stronger than ever, but Lily remained cautious. That moment on the terrace had been symbolic, but she knew trust couldn't be rebuilt in a single day. Ethan, on the other hand, seemed determined to show that his transformation was genuine. The following weeks were intense. The project was gaining more recognition, and Lily was constantly invited to events, interviews, and new partnerships. Ethan made sure that all the credit went to her, highlighting her talent and dedication whenever he had the chance. However, something still bothered her. Ethan was trying too hard, as if he were trying to make up for years of mistakes in just a few weeks. Lily didn't know if this was due to genuine regret or just an attempt to impress her. One day, Ethan asked Lily to accompany him to a meeting with new investors. "I don't want to present anything without you," he said. Lily hesitated but agreed. The meeting took place in an elegant restaurant, and the investors were influential people interested in supporting more sustainable projects. Lily presented her ideas confidently while Ethan watched her with admiration. When the meeting ended, one of the investors made a comment that caught Lily by surprise. "Ethan, you found a real gem. I don't see this passion and authenticity often." Ethan smiled. "Yes, she's unique." The compliment was genuine, but Lily couldn't help feeling uncomfortable. She didn't want to be seen as Ethan's discovery but as someone who had built her own path. Later, when they were in the car, Lily finally spoke. "Ethan, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I want to make something clear. My work and my achievements aren't tied to you." Ethan seemed surprised but quickly nodded. "I understand, and I'll make sure everyone knows that." Lily noticed he was taking her comments seriously, which made her feel more at ease. As they focused on wrapping up the project, an unexpected problem arose. One of the main suppliers was delaying the delivery of materials, putting the opening of a new phase of the building at risk. Ethan, determined to solve the issue, called an emergency meeting with the whole team. "We can't let this compromise our deadline," he said firmly. "Lily, any ideas on how to get around this?" Lily analyzed the reports and suggested an alternative solution involving a smaller, more reliable local supplier. "It might not be the cheapest option, but it's the most efficient." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Make it happen. We'll deal with the additional cost later." The decision was risky but showed that Ethan was prioritizing the quality and values of the project over profits, something Lily noticed with admiration. After the crisis, Lily began to see a more consistent change in Ethan. He was less concerned with his public image and more focused on ensuring the project's success. Small gestures also demonstrated his transformation, sincere compliments to the team, ethical decisions, and even moments when he admitted his own mistakes. One evening, while they were reviewing the final details of the project, Ethan made a confession. "Working with you has made me realize something important." Lily looked at him, curious. "What?" "I spent years trying to meet everyone else's expectations, my father's, my investors, even Ava's. But you never expected anything from me. You just wanted me to be honest with myself." Lily remained silent, absorbing his words. "And are you being honest now?" Ethan nodded with a small smile. "For the first time, I think I am." The final inauguration of the project was marked by an event that brought together influential figures from various sectors. Lily and Ethan stood side by side, receiving compliments and praise for their work. The night felt perfect, but Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was unresolved. In the middle of the event, Ethan pulled her aside to a quieter corner. "Lily, there's something I've been rehearsing to tell you for days." She looked at him, puzzled. "What is it?" Ethan took a deep breath before speaking. "I don't know where I'd be without you. This project, my growth, it all started because you came into my life and made me see the world differently." Lily felt her heart race. Ethan, I don't dash. I know I still need to earn your trust, he interrupted, but more than that, I want you to know how much I admire you, not just as a professional but as a person. Lily was speechless. His words felt sincere, but she still wasn't sure if she was ready to let go of her mistrust. When the event ended, Ethan walked her to her car. Thank you for standing by my side tonight, he said. Lily smiled, a shy but meaningful smile. You're doing well, Ethan, but it's not over yet. He chuckled softly. I know. As the car drove away, Lily glanced at Ethan's reflection in the window and realized he truly was trying to change. For the first time, she felt that maybe she could believe in him. In the days that followed, Ethan continued to surprise her. He got involved in social projects, supported young entrepreneurs, and funded sustainable initiatives. Lily could see he was doing it out of genuine belief, not just to impress her. One afternoon, while working in her studio, she received a message from Ethan. Come to the building. I want to show you something. When she arrived, she found Ethan on the rooftop. He had installed a mural featuring images and stories of people whose lives had been positively impacted by the project. I thought this would be a good way to remember why we started this, he explained. Lily's eyes welled up. It's amazing, Ethan. He looked at her with a sincere smile. Just like you. As Lily gazed at the mural, she realized she might finally be ready to trust him again. The days following the project's final event were a mix of calm and reflection for Lily. The building was officially operational, earning praise from experts in architecture and sustainable design. Her name was now recognized not only locally but also internationally, something she'd never imagined possible. Ethan, on the other hand, seemed more distant. He was focused on new projects and busy with meetings to expand his business, yet Lily knew he was intentionally giving her space to make her own decisions. While working in her studio, Lily received an unexpected invitation to speak at an international conference on sustainable design. The opportunity was too significant to pass up, but it meant being away for a few weeks. Before confirming her attendance, she decided to talk to Ethan. She walked through the reception of Parker Enterprises and went straight to his office. He seemed surprised to see her. Lily, what a surprise. Is everything okay? Yes, she replied, but I wanted to tell you something before making a decision. Ethan set his papers aside and gestured for her to continue. What's on your mind? I've been invited to an international conference. It's a chance to expand my brand, but I'll be away for a few weeks. Ethan watched her silently for a moment before smiling. That's amazing, Lily. You should go. Lily felt a wave of relief at his response. Thank you. I just thought you'd want to know first. Ethan nodded. I want you to know I'm rooting for you, always. The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. Lily felt a strange warmth in her chest but kept it to herself. The trip was a milestone in Lily's career. She met renowned professionals, shared her story, and was invited to collaborate with companies from other countries. As she spoke about her projects, she realized that even from afar, Ethan's lessons on leadership and vision were present in everything she did. Let's play a game with those who only read the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who made it this far will understand. Now, let's continue with the story. But despite the success, there was a void she couldn't ignore. During silent nights in her hotel room, she thought about Ethan, his words, his actions, and even the way he looked at her. He seemed to always be on her mind. When she returned to the city, Lily decided to go straight to the Parker Enterprises building. It was late, but she knew Ethan would probably still be there. When she walked into his office, she found him alone, going over reports. Ethan looked up from the papers and smiled, surprised. Lily, I didn't know you'd be back today. I just got here, she said, closing the door behind her, but I needed to see you. He stood up immediately, concerned. Is something wrong? Yes, Lily replied, her voice slightly trembling. I realized something important while I was away. Ethan stayed silent, watching her intently. There was something in his eyes that seemed vulnerable, as if he knew this moment was crucial. What is it? Lily took a few steps toward him, trying to find the right words. During this trip, I realized how much you've changed, Ethan. I realized that you're no longer the arrogant and distant man I met, and I realized that no matter how much I tried to fight it, I fell in love with you. The words came out quickly, as if they had waited too long to be said. Ethan stood still for a few seconds, as if processing, but then he took a step forward, closing the distance between them. Lily, you have no idea how long I've waited to hear that, he said, his voice husky with emotion. She tried to speak, but he continued, gently holding her hands. I fell in love with you a long time ago. Since you came into my life, everything changed. You made me want to be a better person, made me see that what I was building before had no meaning if it wasn't for something great. Lily felt her eyes fill with tears, but she didn't look away. Ethan, I was afraid to trust, to open up, to get hurt again. But now, I don't want to run anymore. Without saying another word, Ethan leaned in and kissed her. It was a kiss full of emotion, as if they were putting everything they had held back for so long into it. When they finally pulled away, he smiled at her. Lily, you've transformed me, not just as a businessman but as a person. I want to walk by your side, not just today but always. Will you be my girlfriend? Lily laughed, still emotional, and held his face with her hands. Yes, Ethan, I will. In the months that followed, Lily and Ethan began to build something they never imagined, a relationship based on trust, respect, and love. Ethan continued to surprise her with small gestures of affection, while Lily learned to trust him completely. Together, they started to dream big. Lily expanded her brand while Ethan delved into social projects and sustainable initiatives, inspired by the values she brought into his life. On a special night during the opening of a new space they had designed together, Ethan held Lily's hand as the crowd applauded them. He looked into her eyes, and with an emotional smile, said, Lily, you've changed my life in so many ways. I want to build more than just projects with you, I want to build a life. Before she could respond, he knelt down, opening a small box with a simple but elegant ring. Will you marry me? Tears filled Lily's eyes, but she didn't hesitate. Yes, Ethan, yes. The wedding was quiet, full of meaning, and surrounded only by their closest friends and family. For Lily and Ethan, it wasn't just the start of a new phase but confirmation that true love can be born from the most unexpected places. As they watched the horizon on their honeymoon, hand in hand, Lily felt a peace she had never experienced. She knew the future would bring challenges, but she was ready to face them alongside Ethan, her partner in life and love. Do you think Lily was right to forgive and marry Ethan? Leave your opinion in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give it? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to keep up with all our stories, and check out more exciting stories by clicking here on the end screen.